Hey guys, LadyLibertyStacker here. It is Sunday, November 19, 2017, and I am back with you today for another video on a haul I made at a local barn sale. It's a short drive from my home out here where I live, and they have these every 2 to 3 months, and you can also make a private appointment to go. But before I get into my pickups, I went there with the intention of getting cast iron because I got my 4 skillets there for a steal back in August. I think I put up a video on that one. I think it was called Cast Iron Haul or something. But at any rate, what you're looking at here, I'll get into what I picked up there. But what you're looking at here are my acquisitions last weekend, and this is in the partial restoring phase. They were soaked initially in a lye bath, and to remove the seasoning, and any hardened seasoning that's carbonized or rust will not come off in a lye bath. So I then proceeded to soak it in a vinegar water soak. It's a 60% vinegar, 40% water solution. And at any rate, this one here is a cornstick pan. This is a Wagner ware, and a very rusty. In my last video I had a picture of it because it was sitting in the vinegar, but if you leave it in too long, it'll start eating at the pan. You don't want to do that, as I said in my previous videos. But I did put the first layer of seasoning on this after I took the wire wheel brush to it, just to get off any rust that was remaining in the crevices of this pan. And I just did this one this morning, and I'll show you what these guys are. I'm going to move this over. So this is a pan from 1920, or at least patented in 1920. Let me go ahead and try to turn it over gingerly. Oops, I had the wrong side. Okay. Alright, this is, now with all the rust removed and 1 coat of seasoning, this is a crusty corn cob. It says registered and U.S. Patent Office, or an abbreviation thereof. Then it's got Wagner ware Sydney O right there. And then it has a cross here. I'm not sure what that is. If Cast Iron Chaos is watching this video, maybe he can share his vast knowledge on this stuff. And then at the bottom it shows the date at the patent office, July 6th, 1920. So this is almost an antique pan, but it did very well. I took a wire wheel brush to it, and I took a real thin one in here, and it just really worked great. Got all the rust off this thing. And I'm trying to hurry it all along here because I'm going to make it some cornbread for Thanksgiving. And I have a smaller pan. This is the large size 7-stick pan, but it's just gorgeous. I'm going to give it another couple coats of seasoning here, and go ahead and make some cornbread for Thanksgiving. So here we go. And then my other pan was a Wagner small logo, number 7, which is, I think, about 9 inches, but I have to actually measure it. I took a wire brush to this, very smooth, wiped it down really good. And here's the back. I couldn't get off this carbon. I mean, I could have probably soaked it longer in the vinegar, but you know what? It wasn't worth ruining the cooking surface inside of the pan. This is a beautiful pan. When I first got it, there was all kinds of carbonized seasoning baked on around the Griswold logo. But now you can clearly see it's a number 7, Griswold, Erie, PA. It's an old pan, and it's model number 701C. So I got it good enough. And sometimes when you take off all the crud and stuff, sometimes you'll find out that you have a spinner. But happy to say, this pan does not spin. So as soon as I'm done with this video, these are going to be first round of seasoning, second round of seasoning for this. So they're going to go into the oven. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Put it in the oven for their seasoning. And we will do that after the video is over. And for anybody that doesn't know how to season, or go back and watch my video on how to season from start to finish. Now, I went to the estate, or the barn sale today, with the hopes of getting some more cast iron, but what they had there was overpriced. It needed a lot of work, and I didn't need the items for my collection. They were like some kettles and Dutch ovens and nothing collectible in my opinion, and I really didn't want to bother with it. They were overpriced also. They were $25 to $35, and if I'm going to have to do a lot of the work, I'm not going to pay that unless it's a rare Griswold. So I decided to stay, and anyway, I'm going to show you what I have here. This is a cast iron Dachshund doorstop, and they had a priced at $16, and it's not bad. They go for about double that on eBay, depending on what it is. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and it actually hooks together. There is a screw in the back of it. Right there. I have no idea who manufactured it. There's really no date on it. I'm going to clean it up. But cast iron items generally do very well, and I got them down to $14. So here is a Dachshund black cast iron doorstop. So he's cute. And then when I was there, I figured I drove out this morning. I skipped church. I actually went yesterday, so we're good. And I actually saw a humongous bottle. Now this guy is about 9 inches long, 8-9 inches long, and let me see, I put something else, just a typical, well, whatever, it's very tall. It's like 20 inches to 22 inches tall. This is a Canadian Club imported whiskey bottle, vintage, and it's got a State of Ohio sticker on it, but I think I was looking at it somewhere. It was actually really cool. I think it was made in Italy. It's got a bunch of different little things on the label here, which is still on. There's no whiskey in the bottle. I will be selling this, but you can't sell anything on eBay if it's got, you know, liquor in it, that kind of thing. You're not allowed to do that. But this says imported and bottled by Hiram Walker Importers, Detroit, Michigan. And it says 90.4, I think it says 90.4 U.S. proof. And it's a 1 gallon jug, 1 gallon bottle. And these have a premium. It was actually a hurry at a good price. I got them down to $11 on this. But they sell for double to more than that on eBay, depending on the auction. This has Produce of Canada on it. Made in 1951. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. See if it'll focus. It's not going to focus for us, but at any rate, I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And yeah, it should do well. I just have to find the right packaging for it. In retrospect, that's how big that bottle is. And generally speaking, with cast iron bottles, you know, pitchers, things like that, the bigger the better. They're more valuable because the bigger ones tend to break and become more rare over time. So that was really cool. Got that. And then I'm going to move this off to the side. I was looking, and I saw these Liberty magazines, and here it is, Liberty from December 25th, 1943 at 10 cents. This says Christmas on Corregidor, I guess, by Manuel Quaison, something like that. And just a vintage magazine. And then it's got an ad for Philadelphia blended whiskey on the back. And these were found in an estate sale by the guy that was doing the barn sale, and he had them priced at $5 each. I did a quick check on eBay, and these can go for 10 to 12 bucks a pop. So I thought, interesting. So I went ahead and I started looking at some of these. I'm going to move this over. So we have one here. November 13th, 1943. It says, "Do Americans Want a New World?" by George Gallup. I wonder if that's the guy from Gallup Polls. or that invented it, who knows, but there is the front of it. This would be very interesting reading. And here's 5 Seagrams, the historic Seagrams ad. This is very totally retro, totally cool. Oh, I love it. Here is one from July 31st, 1943, and it says, "Will Japan Quit?" by J.B. Powell. And it's got a bunch of warplanes there. And at the bottom there's an article that says, "What the Movie Censors Cut Out" by director Sam Wood. Very interesting. Now we got one from September 25th, 1943. And this says, "The fight still rages for the Dutch Indies." This is all World War II stuff, guys. And it's even got the mail label still on it. And I don't know if it came in this plastic, but it's all protected by this plastic. And here is an ad for Chesterfield cigarettes. Totally cool. Oh. And it says here, "So proudly we hail." These are cool. I'm going to have to take a look at these. I may learn something. And there's a plane called Katie Bug. Picture of that. Interesting. Here's one from June 5th, 1943. And the various articles. Nazis. Monsignor Ryan, Reverend Talbot, Rabbi Wise. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Punishment for aggressor nations. What freedom of the air really means. Kind of interesting. And it says that these dead shall not have died in vain. Huh. July 24th, 43, it shows George Gallup analyzes the 1944 election. That should be very interesting. And on the back is another ancient age whiskey ad. And here's one, August 14th, 1943, Russia and Japan must fight. There's a GI, looks like. Very cool. And here's another one, the New Liberty. See if there's anything interesting there. Training for women, war jobs. Training women for war jobs. Very interesting. And here's a Pabst Blue Ribbon ad. This is totally cool. I'm just going to like looking through those. One from December 1843. And General Tito, Mystery Warrior of the Balkans. Kind of neat. And Liberty, January 8th, 1944, 10 cents. Can you imagine that? The whole year calendar that year. And a old granddad whiskey or liquor, it's whiskey, bourbon whiskey, ad on the back. So they were $5 each, and I just was carrying them around because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I said, "How much for these?" She goes, she took a look, she goes, "For that stack of 10, $30. I said, "Okay, that's cool." This is just interesting to have. Very historical. So my husband loves World War II stuff, so he'll love taking a look at those. They could be a very good flip on eBay, but we'll see. And then I was walking around the shop, or the barn, whatever, and I came across this beautiful water pitcher, and it had a price tag of $10. Hard to believe. This is blown glass. You can tell there is something with, I can't remember what the guy said, but you can kind of tell one of these artistic pieces. I would call it maybe a vintage picture, but it's by no means antique. And then we also had, I saw this one was totally gorgeous. Another picture, like an emerald green. And I don't want to break it. I got to be very careful on picking it up, but I wanted to get more information. You can see that it's blown. You can see the interior, and it says made in Italy. And Italian things generally command a premium on eBay, so there's another one, and they had this priced at $10 as well. He held firm to the price on that, but he gave both to me for $18. I've seen glassware like that for $25 to $30 and sometimes higher depending on where. So I can easily double my money on those or more, you know, on eBay. So anyway, I got these. And then finally, I was kind of looking around. He had a lot of chests and storage boxes and such. And I found this little guy. And if you can see it, it looks like army fatigues. It's like green and brown and gray. And it's got a little latch there and a nice handle to lift it. I mean, it's just very sturdy. So we'll open it up. And it's very deep. It would be excellent storage for my precious metals, some of my bar collection, which I'm working on slowly and surely. And if you smell it, it smells like an old house built in 1800. So there is a label on it, and I looked it up. You can see that. I have no idea what this box might be valued at, but it's the Crosley, I think it's Crosley Radio Corporation of Cincinnati, Ohio. So at any rate, I'm going to clean this guy up. I'm going to vacuum out the interior there, clean it up, and I'm going to use it to store some of my silver collection. You'd never guess that silver would be in there. Isn't that cool? Price $15, and when he added all this other stuff up, it came to $73, and then 15 would take it up to $88. And she said, I'll just give it to you for $80 out the door, no tax, nothing. So that ended up costing me $7. And I've been looking for something cool to put my precious metals in, so I think it should work. And it should just fit in, and nobody would ever know precious metals are in there, which is kind of cool. So I'm not sure where I'm going to store it, but this is everything that I have. And just a quick note on estate sale tips or barn sale tips. If you want the good stuff, you got to get there early. I was there an hour early today waiting, and I was a second car there. So I had, we had first and second dibs and all this stuff, which was cool. Like I said, I walked away from the cast iron, but unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize my key was still in the ignition of my car, and since my lights were on for an hour, and when I went to move my car later, my battery had died. So I had to have him give me a jump. I bought my stuff. I was on my way. Got home. It was long enough to drive to kind of charge the battery, and I thought, you know what? I better check it to make sure it's okay. So I took it to a local shop close to where I live and had them check it, the battery, and I was all ready to get a new one because I've had the car for a few years and we're going into winter here. And she said, we'll check it for you for a fee of $24.95, then we can give it an anti-corrosion treatment for $19.99. I said, oh, can't you bring that down a little bit? I'm trying to negotiate with them. So she goes, no, and I said, okay. And I said, well, test the battery. So as it turns out, the battery itself was okay, and they recommended an anti-corrosion treatment to prevent corrosion. So anyway, I said sure, and then she actually took it down to $10. She says, I'll just throw it on there for $10 for you. I thought, great. So I saved $9 on that just by asking, just by trying to negotiate something you wouldn't think to negotiate. So I thought that was kind of neat that I saved $9 and I didn't need a battery. When they tested it, it came out to almost 100% like it would have been when it was brand new. So I thought that was kind of nice. And anyway, just always remember to ask. And if you're going to barn sales and estate sales, always remember to get there early so you can have the best choice. And estate sales, you usually cannot negotiate on the first day. It just depends. This only takes place for one day every 2 or 3 months, so you can negotiate with them. So it makes it really nice. And they realize a lot of vendors are there, resellers are there. And he knows that's what I do, but at any rate, this is getting long, but a lot of good, juicy, interesting historical stuff here. So hopefully it'll get me some more silver and eventually gold at some point. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please give me a thumb up if you like. Leave a comment or question below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you all for watching, and go make it a great day.